And welcome, rugby fans, to Rugby411. I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is our pick'ems for Week 6 of the MLR 2022 season. A lot of exciting games this weekend. We have 4 big games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Old Glory DC is the one team that is on a bye, and we start off with a huge game. 2 of the top teams in our power rankings. Saturday, March 12th, all times are Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. kickoff. AG, Austin Gilgronis, go over to the Snake Pit to take on the ATL. Huge game between my power rankings of the number 1 and number 3 team. Man, this one's going to be a tough one to choose. I do factor in a home field advantage, but man, Austin is looking still really, really good. Granted, slowed down a little bit with their recent games of not scoring as many points as they started. They were averaging 50 points a game, kind of brought it down now to about 30-some points, which is still very impressive. ATL has a habit of, so far in some of their performances, scoring a lot of points and then kind of easing off. They obviously can't do that with Austin. But man, Austin is still looking like the elite team of Major League Rugby. So I am going to go with the Gilgronis on this one as they continue their dominance in the MLR. Moving on, 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff. We have the Toronto Arrows continuing the longest road trip of any team in Major League Rugby. I believe they're on a 1,000+ days. They still, I think, have one more game after this before they finally get to go home to Toronto to play an actual game. They're going to be visiting the Free Jacks in Quincy at the Veterans Memorial Stadium. Free Jacks coming off of that huge win over Rooney. I feel they will continue this momentum. They played a really, really great game. Toronto has struggled here and there so far this season, coming off of a bye. Much needed rest, but I feel, again, still on the longest road trip. Free Jacks are looking really good now. I give this game to the Free Jacks. And our third game of the weekend, we have 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Seattle Seawolves go over to Aviva Stadium in Houston to take on the Sabercats. Seattle suffering a big loss to NOLA Gold. Houston is still somewhat struggling this season. Again, home field advantage. I'll be honest, I was very impressed by Seattle and surprised by Seattle's win streak at the very beginning, the dominance of their seawall. Kind of, though, predicted them to be one of the lower teams this season. They're starting to kind of show up at that point. Houston is a team, kind of like Utah, where I felt will be a little bit better, but they're also still struggling. I feel this game is going to be very close, but again, home field advantage. I will go with Houston on this one to pick the win up at Avina Stadium. And moving on, the last game on Saturday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. NOLA Gold takes a visit to the beautiful Choctaw Stadium in Dallas, Texas to take on the Dallas Shackles. This was a game I originally believed was going to be possibly Dallas's first win. But man, after that performance by NOLA against Seattle, after the performance of Dallas against Utah, I don't think Dallas is going to be able to come back from it. I think NOLA is going to feel a lot more motivated to win. They have a lot more of the tools than Dallas does. So I'm going to say NOLA picks up the win, and Dallas remains searching for that first win of the season. Moving on, 2 games for Sunday. Early start time for us West Coast fans. Noon kickoff time for the East Coast, 9 a.m. start on Sunday, March 13th. San Diego Legion takes that long trip to Hoboken to go against Rooney, who just suffered a loss against the Free Jacks at home. Reportedly a sold-out crowd for the Rooney at their home in Hoboken, New Jersey. I feel they're going to be very, very motivated to come back from that win. San Diego has looked a little susceptible so far this season. I feel Rooney is again going to be a little bit more motivated. They're going to want to give a win to their diehard fans. So I give it to Rugby New York. And the last game of the slate, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so a little bit later for the East Coast fans. We return to the world-famous LA Coliseum, where your reigning and defending MLR champions LA Giltinis go against the Utah Warriors, a rematch of the semifinals for the Western Conference. And also a continuation of a pretty big rivalry. You know, both of these teams had the only rugby game and the very first professional game that had fans in the SoFi Stadium between the Giltinis and Utah. You know, both teams have looked a little worse for wear, I'll admit, especially as a Giltinis fan. Utah finally showed up with a dominating performance against Dallas at home at Zion Stadium. Whether you believe the reasoning for that win, it will remain to be seen if they can do the same against a much more proven team as the Giltinis. Now, granted, the Giltinis are dealing with a lot of injuries. Had to start the oldest player to ever play in the MLR at 42 years young, Coach Rene Ai. It's, you know, it just really depends on who's on the team, who's going to be on the roster. They picked up some last-second injuries, which caused Coach Rennie to start, and you know, it just depends on what's the depth that they have. Utah has a lot of dangerous weapons that if it feels like they finally are starting to use them, like Mika Kruse, Mikey Teo. This could be a game that Utah runs away with, but I still feel very confident in my Giltinis. They know how to play Utah. They've played them very well in the past. It's home at the world-famous Coliseum, where LA has only suffered one loss so far. I don't feel there's going to be a second loss yet, and so therefore I give it to LA to bounce back. Now, granted, if the bench and the depth is as dead as it was, and again, even with the depth that they had, they took it to the number 1 ranked Austin Gilgronis in the first half of the game. They just couldn't finish. Feel that they can probably do better with Utah. Utah are not Austin. Austin definitely, I feel, is the better team. So I think, again, at home, LA will prove victorious in that game. So, just talking myself into it, but that's the picks. Sadly, we have to now look at our SuperBru MLR Rugby411 leaderboard. So let's bring that up right now. So looking at the leaderboard, very impressive. USA Rugby Union fan came out at top. Perfect picks. He gets the yellow cap for the round. Little backstory. USA Rugby Union fan is a friend of mine in real life. Finally convinced him to join the league, and boy, did he come out blazing in his very first week to pick. Got all the picks right. He has a little bit of a competition with this fella named Footy Balls, who unfortunately Footy Balls was at the very bottom. Thank God, because it prevented me from being at the very bottom. I had a horrible week. But USA Rugby Union had a great week. SD Cal guy came in second, just missing by a couple of bonus points, which is why USA Rugby Union fan came out on top. Scary Larry came into number 3. Rugby Gamer 96 came in number 4, and Paco Boy, Harry, I'm pretty bad at this, and the Reviewer 812, and MSDRFC 83, and Aguera. Wow. All of them coming in tied for 5 with 5 points apiece. It's still a very, very competitive competition. Let's bring in the new leaderboard. And as you look at the new leaderboard, you know, all J Long, even though he didn't have as good a week either this week, still very dominant at the top with 38 points, but that lead is slimming just a little bit. You have Scary Larry coming in at 29.5. Harry at number 3 with 29, as well as MSDRFC 83 at 29. And moving up one spot to be number 5 is Aguera with 28 points. So, again, the season is only 6 weeks in, and again, USA Rugby Union fan, perfect week. Starts off kind of at the bottom at 15, but still has the ability, if he continues doing as well as he did, to easily go up. May not be number 1, but he still has a good shot. So, if you want to still join in, and if you have some rivalries with some of the players here, like he does with footy balls, join in. Absolutely free. Person that wins at the very end of the entire season gets a free MLR t-shirt of their favorite team, courtesy of me. Right now, it's looking like All J Long will be walking away with that t-shirt. But, Scary Larry is pretty scary. He's pretty good at this, trying to narrow in that lead. Harry's there too, MSDRFC 83, Aguera. I'm pretty bad at this. SD Cal guy is also pretty good at this too, as well as Tex. So it's anybody's game. Anybody's game in this. So remember, you got to get your picks in before the weekend's games start, which start this time on Saturday, so you got plenty of time. And good luck, everybody. So hopefully this next weekend will be better for me as well. We'll see. But good luck to everybody in the league, and thank you again, as always, for joining into the pool. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the pitch.